Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the 312 Show. I am your host, Nick Sperry, here in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm joined by my co-host.
I get to say the thing. I'm Drew Bishop Sai. Hello there.
And our very special guest who just finished streaming X-Wing earlier, who I got to join for commentary for 2 games.
My name's Greg, and I like toast, but making toast is not cooking.
I'm really excited about tonight's show. We've got, overall the structure is somewhat similar from the last one. I thought the last round of topics from our first one with Matt overall was sound and worked out well. But we obviously do take into consideration literally all the feedback you guys give us because we want this to be for you guys. This is for us to have fun for you guys. So, without further ado, we'll give everyone a second here to jump in while I say, without further ado, I am going to close the last poll and hide it. Awesome. Cool. Greg, are you ready for this, man? You ready to do this? As ready as you'll ever be?
I'm a little sad there's no fourth window with your mom, but other than that,
no.
Good.
I think we need as many people to come in at it without knowing any context about any of the stuff with my mom and be like, man, this is weird. This thing with Nick's mom.
Nick's mom.
I must be on the wrong stream.
Yeah. Can you turn Greg up? Yeah.
Turn me up. Stop me up.
How is that? Is that any better? I turn myself down.
Colfax 1 2 3. Colfax 1 2 3. Colfax.
Turn down for what?
Turn down for what?
Need more. All right.
Need more. More.
I can turn my mic up a little bit as well.
Both you guys are clipping are at -6, so I'm not really sure.
-6 is pretty ideal, but maybe Coldheart's doing that classic little bit there. Like turn Greg up, turn these other losers down.
Down. Yeah, I'm sure. Yep. All right. Well, let's roll on over to our topics. That stinger really did its job there. So, first of all, let's see what we're dealing with tonight. We're back, bitches. That's the intro for us. Instead of it saying just introduction, we've already done this before. So, we're back, bitches. Super excited to continue doing this. This is the second episode. If you guys missed the first one, we had Matt Carey as our first guest for our debut show. You can watch the replay on YouTube, or you can even go back into our VODs on Twitch and watch that as well. So let's move on to Random Chicago, which is my favorite part because I get to remind people very obnoxiously that I live in Chicago. So first off, Random Chicago time. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about the bean. And whoa, what happened to our cameras? Oh my. We'll have to fix that. This is super annoying. I tested all this stuff. Let me fix us. We were just misplaced. There we go. This isn't a professional stream. Oh, it's not. It will never be. It'll try, but it will never truly be professional. Fix Greg. There we go. All right. So, the bean. It's also called Cloudgate. It's that proper name. It is a sculpture in Millennium Park. I have my notes here to talk about it. It was constructed in Millennium Park between 2004 and 2006 as part of a design competition. During the first 8 months of construction, it was hidden under a tent for metal workers to polish the entire sculpture perfectly before its big reveal in 2006. I think I might have said 8 instead of 6, but it was between the years of 2004 and 2006. It was constructed by British artist Sir Anish Kapoor. And the main draw, the reason why they decided to build Cloudgate the way it is with all those mirrored panels is they wanted to capture the skyline and the design, so they basically just made a mirror, which I think is a little, I don't know, but you guys, that sounds a little cheap. It's like we want something to capture the essence of Chicago, so let's build a mirror.
Are you saying that using the Chicago skyline to enhance your things is cheap? Is that what you're saying right now, Nick? That using the Chicago
it
skyline...
looks good, man. The Chicago skyline is beautiful.
It looks awesome.
It's pretty iconic. It's more iconic than most cities.
Let's just go to that.
Look at that. Look at that in front of us. Beautiful. Yeah.
You know,
So,
from
anyways,
certain angles, it looks like a Mechagodzilla egg.
it's
right?
so
Like,
weird. It's so weird. So many people. You guys see how many
Cool.
people are there. It's just probably the biggest tourist attraction in the city. Wrigley Field's up there too, but it's so easy to get to. People love taking. It's like all of a sudden, if you go into a carnival, into one of those like fun houses with the trippy mirrors, like nobody cares. It's just like, okay, cool. They don't take pictures of themselves, but because it looks like a giant bean, people are obsessed with taking selfies and photos of themselves in just a reflection, just in a big mirror. So it tricks people. Greg, you've been to Chicago before, right?
Yep.
Have you been here to this place?
To the bean? No.
Yeah.
Could not care less.
Yeah, it's not. So
Wow.
Well, I mean, I don't really blame him. Cloudgate is one of those things where I'm a little annoyed with it still, because for a while there was an internet fad on Facebook. It was like about the bean, and it was like, go comfort the bean, like do Pokemon Go with the bean. Like, it was really stupid. It's like personifying the bean, and it was never funny, but it went on for like a year. And I had a lot of friends of mine that kept sharing it, and I'm like, I don't care if you're interested in this fake event that's not happening. It's not funny. It never was. So, yeah, it's but anyways, it's right next to the pavilion, which has a really nice amphitheater. It's a beautiful park. But yeah, so the bean, it's tourist. It's for tourists. I could care less about it too.
I got a question for you guys about it though.
Sure.
So Twitchy5 says I've been there, and then Nick, I'm assuming you've been there too. Is it cleaned daily, or is it like one of those things where you'll go see it like tomorrow morning, and it's like super disgusting
dirty
on like the bottom and dirty because people keep walking up to it?
That's a great
and,
question. I actually do have info about that. The sculpture gets a deep cleaning twice a year, but is washed every day with a power hose, and then it's wiped and polished. So it gets vandalized a bit because, well, we live in a big city that's open to the public, so it gets vandalized. Right. People spray paint it, but they've done a good job of making it cleanable. It's not like something that can be permanently defaced. So yeah. So that was
met me.
That was random Chicago.
I was gonna say, Greg, do we know if anyone's ever cracked it? Like someone just walks up to it and is like, "Oh, hey, look at this, ding!" Right? Like,
it was closed because of COVID, which I was like, like it's such a nice park, but you couldn't go through any of it, and the bean was closed. So, like, the bean's right there in front, so if you wanted to get behind it, you can't. You just like couldn't. They just like closed it all off, which was.
Here's a fun fact about the Chicago bean: they hate when you put ketchup on it.
Just like anything else in Chicago, yeah. Ketchup. I'm not a fan of ketchup, but if you put a ketchup on a hot dog in Chicago, it's not okay. I guess it's just something that I don't feel so passionately about, but honestly, yeah. Are you a ketchup or mustard guy?
Oh, ketchup all the way.
Okay, well that's why you're upset about it. If you didn't care.
Well, here's the thing. Like, okay, sure, yeah, we're against ketchup. Let's go to mustard. This thing we make deadly gas out of that we used to poison everybody in wars. That seems like a safe condiment. Ridiculous.
I am excited for the hot takes part of tonight's stream to say
the lack of hot takes and the hot takes.
Oh yeah. All right, we're moving right along. So now we did random Chicago. Now we're gonna move on to like I said, it is time for the hot takes. Let me first play the really fun animation that I spent too long on. Oh. Where did it go? Oh. There we go. Boom. Fourth time's the charm with the hot takes animation. One more time. Boom. Hot takes. All right, Greg, lead us off. Give me a hot take. Something that be original here. I know that you don't think deep dish is a pizza. You think it's a cake, but let's try something else. I challenge you.
Take. That's a take.
All right. It's a take. Sure.
Here's a take for you, and this has gotten me in trouble before. The Beatles are completely overrated. They were a good band, sure. Decent. Nice. They get credit for being first. They were not the best, and they are vastly overrated. They also were that famous in a time when there were like 7 other bands. Like, of course they were mega. It's like Gone with the Wind shattered movie records. Yeah, because it was the only movie played. It was the only movie in theaters for like 3 years. Of course, it shattered records. literally everyone was like, do you want to go to the movies? Sure. What do you want to see? Well, we could see Gone with the Wind. I already saw that 5 times. Well, it's the only one playing, so how about the 7 o'clock? Yep, sounds good.
They did the same thing with they did the same thing with Titanic too, right? They released it. It was out for almost a full year, and then it left the theaters for like 4 months, and then they brought it back, and then it was like the highest grossing movie of all time, and it was like, well, of course, because it's been almost 2 years the movie's been in, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Psionic Rain, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. That was Greg's hot take. Drew, what do you got?
God, I've been thinking as soon as Greg started talking.
He's
I'm
thinking
like,
about X-Wing. He's got to get him out of the X-Wing mindset.
I know. My hot take, I guess, would be Nintendo related. I still think to this day the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is the best Zelda game. And that, I guess, is
that hot? Is that hot? Is that spicy?
I have no idea if that's a hot take.
I think it's a little spicy because there's been a couple of games that have come out recently that have been like super good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's always been up for debate, like which one is the best. So
what do other people say about it? Like what are other titles? I don't play.
No, you're good. Very similar to Greg. It was hailed as one of the best because it was the first, and there wasn't really anything alongside it that was better.
People have such a boner for the first.
Yeah, the first of almost anything, right? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, there's a new one that just came out called Breath of the Wild that sort of shattered Switch records and things, and it's a really fun game. It's amazing. Twilight Princess was another one that they did, which was it wasn't a remake of Ocarina of Time, but it had a lot of the similar stories. It was very, very similar. And it had the same map as well, so it was like, oh, okay.
Legend of Zelda is like pretty big on Nintendo Switch too. It's like definitely one of the like.
It is, yeah, one of the top
Switch
titles.
Was big. That was one of the top titles.
I'm
Absolutely.
googling this, and it appears that Ocarina of Time is widely considered in the 5 to 10 range by people.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that's a little. I don't know if that's like blazing hot.
Yeah, I was like,
not enough to play the animation again.
Is that Tauntaun?
It's not like Thai food, but you know, it's decent.
Okay.
I mean, the other you want the other thing, Nick? It's a Star Wars one.
Yeah, it's not X-Wing related though.
Dewbacks should not have fucking hair. They shouldn't have hair on their spine. Why do they have hair? I don't get it. They shouldn't have hair.
That's the spiciest take
Or
of the
is the
year.
hot take that Dewbacks?
Holy shit!
The Dewbacks should have hair, right? Like.
Yes. Hold on, I gotta turn on my AC real fast with that kind of hot take.
God damn it. I'm
so
horrible
spicy. No, you're not horrible. Some are gonna be hotter than others. Here's a hot take, guys. I mean, I could just go out and say it and people will be mad, but overall, 65% of The Empire Strikes Back is very boring.
Oh
my God. I got one. The Empire,
No.
you know, like kid version of me would absolutely agree with you, Nick. Like that was me as a kid. I hated watching Empire because I was like, it's just a bunch of talking.
Is it a great movie? Absolutely. It's super good. I love that movie. But it's a slog once he gets to Dagobah, and he's there for a while. That's my hot take.
Do you want?
You got a rebuttal? Do you have a rebuttal from Greg?
Yeah, I have a rebuttal.
What I will admit about this is that the cave scene in Dagobah confused me then, and it still kind of does. I have no idea what's going on there.
It makes sense. Have you heard about the right? Because George Lucas didn't know that Star Wars was going to be as big as it was, and so he actually it was turned into a comic. His version of what the sequel would have looked like if it wasn't Empire Strikes Back and it didn't get big. That comic really kind of showed me, oh, interesting. So this is where they kind of wanted to take it. And then watching the Dagobah scene, I was like, oh. It's basically, that was the finale of what it was supposed to be. It was very interesting.
Colfax saying it's a bog, not a slog. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. You're right. Owned again. Oh, I'd like to call myself out really quick. We'll get to it in when we talk about Mandalorian, but I recently watched, I'm jumping into Star Wars for a second as we just mentioned Empire. Rebels. I recently watched Rebels for the first time. Okay.
Don't you dare.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm not gonna spoil anything. No. It's not even. This isn't a take. This isn't a take.
Okay. All right.
But this is a. Anyways, I don't know. Cover your ears if you haven't seen Mandalorian yet, or if you haven't watched Rebels. But I thought that Thrawn died. And I because I just watched Rebels, and it's like, no, dude, have you seen The Mandalorian? It's like, crap, you're right. Oh, I felt like such an idiot. Anyways, so that I got owned in my own Discord for that because I felt.
How do you call yourself a Star Wars fan? Come on, man, get out of here.
I think I'm a fraud. I should probably throw all these out.
Hang yourself up.
All of that away.
Think Ezra died as well? Do you think Ezra was alive but Thrawn was dead?
No, well, so I just remembered the scene with Thrawn being, like shot into hyperspace, and it's like, oh, there's no way. I forgot about Mandalorian.
It was like a SpongeBob episode, right?
But then she goes, well, at the end of but then she's like, I'm gonna go find him or whatever, and they're like, oh, there's no way he's dead. Like it's plot armor. I guess no matter what, if he's on the ship with him. But I was like, how does that work? I guess it's a movie. It's a movie. That's what I need to tell myself. Or it's a show. It's a movie. Whatever it is. I need to just tell myself.
It's a movie show.
Script. It's a show, movie show.
Ring, movie show.
Absolutely. SpongeBob, when they go hella fast and all of a sudden the skin in the eyes, right? As soon as the whales jump into hyperspace with the ship, it just disintegrates, right? Like,
yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to have the kind of plot armor to survive something like that. I can barely survive my day-to-day routine, so being able to do what either of those guys did. Also, the martial arts, the form that Thrawn has, I mean, if I could just have like 10% of that, please, that'd be great. Be in that kind of shape, that'd be great.
You weren't groomed since you were a child for war, so.
Yeah, that's also true.
I do recommend you guys read the Thrawn books. Super good. Greg, you like most of the Star Wars literature. You read a decent amount, right? I know that, with the trivia.
Yeah, I'm caught up on everything. Yeah.
Cool. I'm much more lame about it, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So.
I love both trilogies so far. The Thrawn prequels are great, and the Thrawn trilogy I really liked. Like the new one. I like the old one too. And I'm a huge fan of Mara Jade, and I'm a huge fan of Talon Card.
Mara Jade.
But I think I like New Thrawn more than I like Old Thrawn. Here's a hot take for you. Old Thrawn, kind of not as exciting as New Thrawn. New Thrawn is like a nuanced character that has like depth and purpose and like thoughts.
I completely agree with you. I don't think that's a hot take.
Has Greg read the prequel series for Thrawn?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, what's up, James? How's it going, man?
Me Thrawn no Rodu.
All right, I think we've got enough hot takes in for the night. That was a good set. Leading us off with the Beatles, that's pretty strong. It's hard to really top that. So that's why I pulled the Empire Strikes Back, opinion out of my ass there. I do believe it's boring at parts, but it's a great film. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's not. So
I pissed someone off at work so much one day that they actually left early by earnestly arguing that Creed is a better band than the Beatles.
Oh my god.
Oh, that hurts. I love Creed though. I do like Creed a lot, but
that's not like it's not like an opinion I'm like super high on, because I think they're both like just like, I think Creed's bad and the Beatles are like okay. But like if you like commit to something so hard that it gets like on someone that much, it's a win. That's a win.
Yep.
You are an opinionated man, but you stick with it, and
I'm not shy. Anyone who follows my Twitter Greg Kash knows that the opinions.
Let me take an opportunity for the first time of a few times tonight to plug Greg's stream, Nickel City X-Wing. I'm sure you guys, there's this very minute chance that there's anybody here that isn't already following or subscribed to Greg. But
when I look at my Twitter analytics, it's always like the people who follow you also follow that thing. It's just you and Sam at the top.
Isn't it weird that Hex and GSP aren't there?
It is.
It's so weird. So what that tells me, this is so off topic, but what that tells me is that they do not show up except for like one or two. Like they could care less.
Right.
But if there's this X-Wing streamer on, they're like, Like they're like, they're like out of the coffin, like like they hop on Twitch, but they could care less if there's X-Wing content the other 5 or 6 days of the week, which is fine. It's their prerogative. I just think it's super weird. It's so weird. Anyways, it's time for guest rapid fire, which is right there. Boom, boom, boom. All right, Greg. It's time to ask Greg a series of questions. We had 45 seconds for Matt last time. We're going to continue with the 45-second timer. He made it to question 12. Through question 12, we have 24. So let's see how far you can get. Let me pull everything up here to make sure I do not dupe you for any time, because that would be horrible of me to do. Let me pull it up. Here we go. We got the questions. Let me switch screens here real quick. Here we go. All right. 3, 2, and 1. The timer is up. Here we go. First question. What is your go-to airline?
Southwest.
You have a time machine. Where do you go?
1950s. I could be a pro baseball player in 1950.
Pineapple on pizza.
No.
What would you do with $200,000?
Probably buy a car, like an electric car.
All right. Crepes or waffles?
Waffles.
Okay. Pasta or pizza?
Pizza.
Best song to jam out to?
But I blindside my entire life.
Best pilot in X-Wing?
Wedge.
All right. Favorite non-sci-fi movie?
Forrest Gump.
Favorite internet?
I'm just naming shit.
Favorite ISP?
Not Spectrum. Anything but Spectrum.
Are there ghosts in your dice?
No.
And that's time. So we made it through 11. Did not beat Matt's, but you were right there. The next question would have been your favorite board game. Let's ask you that one because I'm genuinely curious.
Well, I mean, does X-Wing? I guess X-Wing is like a miniature game, not really a board game, right?
Yeah. I would say it doesn't count as a board game.
Legally, it's a board game, or it's not a board game.
Legally speaking, okay.
Yeah, because Hasbro owns the rights to Star Wars board games, which is actually why Imperial Assault sort of fell off, because there was a lawsuit around whether or not it was a board game, even though they were like,
is Rebellion a Hasbro game then?
I couldn't tell you.
I thought Rebellion was
Star Wars Rebellion?
Yeah,
board
game Star Wars Rebellion.
That's Fantasy Flight games.
Yeah, no, we know it is, but we're wondering, is it considered a board game or is it considered a miniatures game?
Yeah, it's on a. You play it on a board. It's a board game, I'd say, with features miniatures. I'd say War of the Ring, Risk.
It doesn't matter. Games. My answer is Trivial Pursuit.
Cool. All right.
I like trivia games. I once played a game of Star Wars Trivial Pursuit, and the other people didn't get a turn.
Let's see. Let's try that again.
Yeah, that's like the best game to play. That's not.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Don't do that, Greg. Please don't.
Let's see. Our next one, we're gonna talk about Star Wars lore. This is for you, James. Doing this just for you. Have you guys played The Force Unleashed before?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're hopping into we're talking about an oldie and a goldie here. Talking about Juno Eclipse. I think a lot of people's first crush if they played this game. And you were a man and you were heterosexual. This may have been your first crush. So Juno Eclipse, let's talk about Juno. She's not in canon, but she was, as Drew pointed out, was in first edition of X-Wing.
Absolutely.
Drew, do you mind pulling up her ability and we can go over at the end? I'll talk about her real quick and then we can
100%.
talk about her next thing.
Yep,
cool.
I got more things to talk about her too, so when you're done, let me know.
Cool. So Juno Eclipse. Who was she? She was born on Korlog, which I do not think Korlog is canon anymore as either. That this does not exist anymore in canon. A lot of this is gonna be legends, guys. Just a heads up, which is fine. One of the themes that we're trying to stick to is characters that could be brought back into canon but are legends right now. So she was the daughter of a teacher and a civil engineer. She was dealt a personal tragedy when her mother died. And she died as part of an insurrection on Korlog. Her father became a lot closer to the Empire and was much more distant, so she kind of wanted to impress her dad and join the Galactic Empire. And she became big in the Imperial Navy early on in her career. She flew many successful combat missions throughout the Outer Rim as an Imperial pilot, and eventually it awarded her the admiration of her peers and commanding officers, including Vader, who gave her command of Black 8 Squadron, Vader's elite unit of TIE fighter pilots. She was an exceptional TIE pilot. She openly questioned Vader's methods, which I'm sure he loved. And that's why she ended up being reassigned and ended up being a pilot of the Rogue Shadow, working alongside Vader's secret apprentice, the main character in Force Unleashed, a Sith assassin codenamed Starkiller. They hunted the few remaining members of the Jedi who survived Order 66, including Shaak Ti. She died so many different times. Deleted scenes or not.
Yeah, four times. I think she's the only character to die 4 different times in 4 different things. It's ridiculous.
So she until Starkiller was betrayed by his master Vader. The Eclipse was then stripped. She was stripped of her rank, and she was arrested as a traitor. And then Starkiller decided to befriend Vader again, and then he betrayed him again, and that's when Starkiller went and rescued her. And they have like a love story or whatever, which is a thing. So good for you, Starkiller, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know. Tell me about the X-wing version of Juno Eclipse really quick, because I am curious.
Absolutely. So she came out with the oh my god, I can't remember what's the ship that they have in the new Battlefront for Inferno Squad.
Raider?
The Raider, yeah.
Raider?
So in the Raider expansion, we got a bunch of new X1 pilots, including a new title. Juno Eclipse was the highest initiative skill pilot in 1.0 from that set. She is initiative 8.
Out of
and her
9.
not 9. Yep, initiative 8.
But out of
20,
9.
28. Yeah, right. 28 points. And her ability is and this is also in a TIE Advanced, which is kind of weird, right? Like, you mentioned that she is, big in the academy and a TIE fighter pilot, but we never saw her fly an X1. No one flew an X1 other than Vader, right? So, anyways, her ability: when you reveal your maneuver, you may increase or decrease its speed by 1 to a minimum of 1. So
Flexible.
that was Juno. Yeah, that was Juno Eclipse in 1.0. I don't.
Ved Foslo Eclipse.
Ved Foslo Eclipse, yeah, and so
Ved Eclipse.
much like Jyn Erso in 2.0, Juno's pilot ability was moved over to a character that was in canon when 2.0 dropped. So we may not see her again. One of the few Lego sets that I bought was the ship from Force Unleashed, and I actually have a Lego minifigure of Juno Eclipse, which is pretty cool.
I used to. I sold my Rogue Shadow set. It was a very interesting ship. Very weird looking ship.
Absolutely. I'd like to see it else, right? Like, it was.
Yeah,
cool.
I think Force Unleashed is a decent example of a part of what used to be Star Wars canon that went off the rails, and they just didn't want to have to deal with reeling it in and patching stuff up, so they just banished it into Legends. It's so so the Force Unleashed, by the way, just started the poll. Have you played Force Unleashed? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Vote. Super iconic teaser for the Force Unleashed when I was younger was Starkiller. This massive wide shot of Starkiller pulling down a Star Destroyer with the Force.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's insane! That's crazy! Probably only Rey could do that, because Rey could do anything. But like, that was, at the time, I was like, this game looks like the coolest shit. I mean, that is an effective teaser, man. That is some of the coolest marketing you could do for a game. Very simple, pretty short. But yeah, I mean, I'll never forget that game purely only for the teaser. I played a little bit of it, but one of the things that looks good, the walk cycles, like the movements of the characters is pretty rough. But overall, the game for this time looks quite decent. Like, I'm overall impressed.
It's actually fairly replayable. Like, you can download it on Steam and stuff, and it's not all that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have both of them on there. I'm probably going to have to give it a replay at some point. I haven't played them all the way through. So, yeah, I mean, I'll have to... I don't know, is the play style, like, I know that Fallen Order is so different and so much more toned down, but, like, is it the closest thing to a new Star Wars game, like the Force Unleashed versus... I guess that's the closest thing, is, like, Fallen Order? Like, the most similar?
Yeah,
I think so.
Kind of... There's a lot of similarities, but obviously the way they treat the Force is completely different.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One's the Force Unleashed. It's supposed to be like an amped up, like unrealistic way to have Force. and then the other is like, this is a bar that will never go up if you spend it.
Yeah.
But that was the big thing about the game too. Like it was at the time, I believe when it did come out, it was known for. I know you said, Nick, the movement wasn't very like fluid, but like the abilities to like attack and things like that. I actually think they based Ahsoka's fighting style loosely off of Starkiller. They hold their like I know Ahsoka has 2 sabers, but one of them she holds in a very similar manner to
Oh, that's true.
Starkiller.
That's
Yeah,
true.
and so I think that they, even though it went into Legends, Lucas still saw it and pulled from that and was like, I
Yeah.
really like this aspect of this. Let's use it. So
In Star Killer base, there's no relation, right? Sorry, Greg, I didn't mean to talk over
No,
you. But,
absolutely
there's no relation at all. Isn't it just called Star Killer because it can destroy, like, planet? What's the reason for calling it Star Killer base if there's no connection to Star Killer?
so
Well, it consumes the star, so it kills the star, and also the original title of Star Wars was going to be The Adventures of Luke Starkiller.
Right.
Blah blah blah.
Totally
blah.
forgot about that.
and that's where the name comes from. It's
Trivia.
Skywalker was, excuse me, Starkiller. So there it is.
Very cool. Yeah, and that.
There's a fun Juno Eclipse fact, Nick.
Ooh, hit me with it.
In Legends, I believe Juno Eclipse is actually responsible for recruiting Admiral Ackbar into the rebellion.
That's pretty big. That's like no small
I
thing.
didn't know that.
You can kind of write home about that. Yeah, no, thanks for that, man. I didn't realize that. The research that I did, I didn't go all the way through. Shout out to Wikipedia, by the way, for being a decent source to find good footnotes about characters in Star Wars and about almost anything in Star Wars, really. So that was our Star Wars lore. Oh, what is going on today? There it is. Nice. DMCA takedown. All right. Moving on to X-Wing. You guys like X-Wing? Most of you watching play X-Wing. Drew loves X-Wing. Greg streams and loves X-Wing. I try to stream X-Wing and I play X-Wing. Lots of X-Wing. So, first off, let's do this. X-Wing time. Pew pew pew. Moving on.
Oh yes, Desmond. Believe you me. We're gonna talk about E-wings.
There's a lot to talk about, guys. So let me shut off this poll and start a new one here. Finish that poll. You guys, most of you have played Force Unleashed. Makes sense. Now, the new question. Which faction got the most love with the points change? Start it. 1 for Rebels, 2 for Empire, 3 for Scum, 4 Resistance, 5 for First Order, 6 for Republic, and rounding it out, 7 for Separatists. All right, so our first question. What was the biggest surprise from the points adjustment? Greg, we'll start with you. Isolate one thing. What was surprising to you?
Gosh. I don't know if I was surprised by anything. I thought it was all relatively common sense what they were going to do. I'm going to say Poe coming down. I didn't think Poe was too expensive, and they made Poe a lot cheaper. I think both Poes went down.
Yeah.
But I mean, the one that no one ever played came down 5 points, which is a lot for an I6 that can every other turn get double actions. And technically a coordinate, like that's a huge.
Let's see here.
I mean, a 55.
The point differential. Yeah, the point differential. I love Resistance as a faction, and trying to build lists, I was like, oh dang, dude, do I wanna, instead of taking every 2 actions every turn to this guy, like, because the points cost is astronomical now between them. That's like a whole upgrade, or even an upgrade in a third, right? Like.
Yeah. I mean, Herald's. Is it Heralds of Hope or Heroes of Hope?
No.
Heralds of Hope, right?
I'll tell you what the biggest surprise is. I just thought of it.
Hit
the
it.
biggest surprise is that the jamming suite is free. That is the biggest surprise, hands down. No one thought that. Everyone thought that was at least a 6-point upgrade, at least. And it turns out it's a 0-point upgrade.
Yep. Do you think the cost of... Well, I guess we'll get to it.
Drew, what do you think? Sorry, we'll have time to go to round all the way.
No. Oh no, 100%. The one thing that really stood out to me was some upgrades that used to be agility based or initiative based went back to being just like a one number. So as I just was talking to Greg about, I'm a huge resistance guy. Heroic just went down to 2 for everybody, 2 points for everybody. Instead of it either going up or 1 or down or whatever.
Yeah.
So Heroic kind of stood out to me. Hera, I think, was another one.
Were you surprised by Hera though? Which Hera? B-wing Hera or A-wing Hera?
I was surprised that both went to the same point cost.
That is a little
Yeah, it was very strange to me. Both Hera, same cost. Those are my 2 the biggest things. Oh, maybe Bosk not being touched, but like he wasn't really a problem before Zam, which of course got touched. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we'd leave that out.
Bosk wasn't the issue. It was Zam on that.
Absolutely.
I'll give you a couple. One of them, I don't know, maybe some people, it was on their radar. I thought it was surprising considering its playability. The Actus losing its cannon slot was something I didn't think they were actually going to do. The R7A7 combo was solid. It was pretty good. But I honestly thought that was a really challenging platform to succeed with consistently. And they were only 3 agility or 3 hull rather than 3 agility. So they could pop, they could be like a TIE fighter in one turn if they roll blanks. So I was surprised that they did that. They obviously were paying attention to it, and they challenged that, hey, we'll drop points for Republic almost across the board, but we're also going to take away some of the instant ads that you've been working with and leaning so heavily into for so long. So that was one surprise. The other surprise was that Gavin Darklighter went down 5 points. I love my E-Wings, but Corrin went down, which I think we all expected, going down a couple of points, but Gavin going down 5 is so comparable to the Rogue that you can staple him into a lot of lists now. You can build around him a lot easier than you could before. At 60, he was a lot harder to play. At 55, he's only 4 points more than the Rogue Squadron Escort, and they're the same initiative as well. So those are my 2. Looks like the chat saying Star Vipers were surprised. Gunners.
I was gonna ask about Star Vipers with the loss
no
of
one asked for and no one needed.
Oh, the E-Wings? Or no, you mean the stuff?
Star Viper.
The Vipers, yeah. Guri went down 4 points from 64 to 60. Because Guri lost her I wouldn't call it a cheat slot, but it makes her, playable. So it's going to be hard to succeed with Guri now. If you want to fit her out without advanced sensors, she'll still be like 90 points and will not have the opportunity to be as hard to pin down as before. So that's good for the game, though. I know a couple of people that absolutely love Guri, and we're playing Guri Fen or Guri Boba for a long time. But even they, I think, admit that it's good for the game to at least, make her, try to push her in a new direction. Dropping her points is the start of that. Prime thrusters is interesting on her. I think you probably don't take any other tech. Would there be anything else you guys would put on Guri besides prime thrusters? I
still think outmaneuver probably has some value.
Yeah.
But
outmaneuver has value. Prime thrusters, that's already 16 points, right?
Pattern analyzer. Like,
Yeah.
why prime thrusters when you could just pattern analyzer, right? Like, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but how often is a Star Viper actually slooping or doing the K turn?
You want to be able to link. I think you really want to be able to link action.
Also true.
Yeah. So I think those are our biggest surprises. We'll move down. The biggest winner, biggest loser. Greg, we'll start with you again. Who's the biggest winner? You can name 2 if you think there's more than one. The biggest loser.
The biggest winner and the biggest loser. Gosh, I'm gonna say the biggest loser is the Separatists, just in general. They're the only faction whose net points actually went up. They got significant nerfs. Well, maybe not nerfs, but like their big cards, Zam, went up. Their Zam fire spray, so they got hit with that twice. Dooku went up. Like everything they like to do, HMPs went up. Everything just got a little bit more expensive. Now the Tri-Fighters did go down, but here's the news flash: Tri-Fighters are trash. So it doesn't
Trash.
Oh, dang. That's a hot take.
That is a hot take. We saved it for this part because we couldn't do X-Wing related during the hot take segment. Trash. Interesting. I don't think they're necessarily very good.
Tri-Fighters are good. Well, like literally anyone. Nick, look at me. Turn directly to your camera. Look at me and tell me that Tri-Fighters are good.
I think Tri-Fighters are fine.
Yeah, they're good. I think they're fine.
Good enough. I think they're good enough.
No, you can't qualify it.
Okay, I think Tri-Fighters are good.
Look to the camera, look to these
I think Tri-Fighters are good. I think Tri-Fighters are good.
Both of you look to the
audience. They are. What's wrong with them? This is like the Mad Dog segment where like, you know, every podcast like they go like off the rails or like screaming. It's like Fox News, like craziness, except we're more fair and balanced than Fox News ever will. But my rebuttal to that is they're not trash, dude. They got a good stat line. Now they can take independent calcs. Independent calcs is free, which I think is interesting. It went from 4 points to 0. So people that built lists with Tri-Fighters, they've saved a ton of points that they could put into a Sith Infiltrator, into a Belba Lab, probably Grievous. They could probably find a way to get. You can build lists around them, and they're more challenging to deal with.
Lists around Tri-Fighters. You cannot. They are at the best.
I think Drew agrees with me.
I've never flown him, but
Drew doesn't know anything about this. He doesn't get it.
Yep.
Look at Mass. Look at Mass TMT. He's a CIS player and he won't touch them. He won't touch them.
Well, let's be fair. Like they did just change in points, so I think we need to give a little more time, and then we can write it off completely as dead. But we were in a meta where we had double fire sprays. Like Separatist players were only using like double fire sprays. It was really lame.
They the double fire sprays or like HMP spam, and they lost both of those. So they're clearly the loser here.
Yeah. A reminder, guys.
Clearly the winner.
Sorry,
the
Greg.
winner. Okay.
Go ahead.
Clearly the winner is the Resistance. They get new ships in the Y-Wings, and I haven't played many of the other Y-Wings, but Zori is awesome. The wartime config is 2 shield upgrades for 4 points, plus a bunch of white maneuvers and more munition slots. Both pose go down. The only things that really went up were rows to 28 points instead of 25 points. Ooh. And the couches went up a little bit. But the fireballs all went down. The Y-Wings are very reasonably priced. The A-Wings didn't. Merle went up. Lulo actually got a drop. So if anything, A-Wings got more playable. #Navi. The T-70s almost across the board went down.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Yep.
There's just... If you look at this, and there's nothing bad about this for the Resistance.
It's a good time to be a Resistance
more
player.
Points to play with. Yeah. I think we're entering a golden age of Resistance.
Yeah, so
even
far
the Star Fortresses went down if you're into that sort of thing.
It's true. So far, people think Rebels are the biggest winner. We'll talk about Rebels, but Drew, what do you think? Biggest winner, biggest loser?
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, man. I really agree with the chat. I think Rebels were at a spot where they were like missing 1 or 2 pieces, and then Hera came out in the A-Wing and the B-Wing. Even in the B-Wing list with Hera, it was so strong. And Hera in the A-Wing and Ahsoka, I think it boosted them to a level that we haven't really seen before. And then with the point changes and the changes to the E-Wing that you've been flying around and talks and things and other ships coming down, I'm like, oh man, Hera I think is the biggest winner. I think the A-Wing Hera should have gone up more. I think she's definitely worth more than 48.
It's hard when you have Ahsoka with 3 Force right there ahead of you.
Yep,
it's hard to price her more because of
absolutely.
But yeah, biggest loser.
Biggest loser to me is Scum. They lost a ton of stuff. There's a bunch of swarm ships that were really good that are now no longer swarmable, or have been boosted to a point where suddenly you can't, I can get Bosk Fen Route and like 3 M3A interceptors. You can't do that much anymore, right? So.
That's true. Scum also having to deal with hits to Jabba, Zam, which let's be honest, Scum was relying so hard into Zam, Gamut Key, and Protectorate Gleb. all of
Yep.
those also got hit. Unfortunately, Zam's only 13 points and Bosk remained the same. So you could still take a pretty effective and scary Bosk for a good deal. So Bosk has never been super, super good. Like, he's never been amazing up until this point. So we'll see how he performs now with Zam at least being in the ballpark of what she should have been costed. If he continues to just steamroll, then he probably needs to change. But I'm willing to let Bosk, do what, to play it out. Let's see how it goes.
I don't think Scum Lost is that big of a loser, because I think the Scum faction is diverse enough to overcome the ability of not getting 8 cartel spacers in a list now. Like, you still have, like, Fenrau wasn't touched. He's still, you're going to put 71 point Fenrau plus Fearless on the board. That didn't change. Boba Fett actually went down a point. All the YT 1300s, which are super cheap, I mean, they need upgrades to be good, but they all stayed the same. Kanan was my big surprise that Kanan didn't change.
Yeah, he didn't go up. That's actually very surprising to me. I didn't notice that.
And all the IGs went down as well.
Yeah,
so
they went down a point.
Scum definitely did lose what the Scum meta was, but I don't think as a faction that they're not going to be able to compete anymore. I think the meta is just going to change for them, and they're going to be just as strong as they were.
I think when we say, we have to kind of be clear, like, biggest winner, biggest loser, those are like hot taglines, but Scum has always been up here, and there's been a lot of middle ground from the other factions. So even though Drew thinks they're the biggest loser, they kind of just drop down to like here, I think. And like, yeah, you're right. With the Seek Swarms and everything, they're still very competitive. And they still, like, Kanan is still a good tool. Boba even went down, not by, like a lot or anything, but Boba went down. Boba's still really good. And now first player is random, so like, the whole you could load up Boba with shield and whole upgrade procs mines, all the goods.
All the toys.
It would be a blast. I don't know if it necessarily, it would be a lot of things blasting each other at least. I'll go real quick. Biggest winner to me is, I'd also agree, would be the Rebels. I think Resistance is a close second though. I agree with Greg about what they can do, especially with the alt Poe. The 2 charges give other people actions Poe from the expansion. I think it's Heralds of Hope. Is that the name of it, or is it Heroes?
Yes. Heralds.
Cool. Yeah, Heralds of Hope. So that's an eye opener to me. But what I think we're about to see a lot of rebel salad lists that feature Korn or Gavin. Korn's gonna make an appearance. He's going to be making appearances now. And Gavin usually was just not taken in favor of the cheaper rogues, but now the 4-point gap and the tech slots, that saves them a lot of points. Dropping advanced sensors, they get pattern analyzer. Elusive R4 or R3 is really strong on them. They even have access to optics if they really want to lean super heavily into 3 hits almost every time. And the crit conversion. I mean, let's be honest, there's a lot of beefy, big ships that are being played right now. Some of the ships that come to mind are, well, there's the new bombers, the new Y-Wings, the new FO bombers, and then there's Bosk. And if every ship is dealing a hit, like, 1 or 2 crits every attack, it becomes a die roll that usually is pretty rare into being a constant because of Gavin. So, I'm just really excited to see how things shape up. I've always loved playing E-Wings, even when people thought they were bad. Now I think they're definitely, raising some questions about, are they viable? I'm scared that they could be too viable potentially. I don't think that's gonna happen, but then I would be sad to see them go back up in points. So we'll see. We got plenty of time. We got 6 months now before any other changes happen, at least in terms of general point structure. Biggest loser. I said I was going to say this really quick, and I went on a long rant. I would say this might be a hot take, but for me, I don't think, even though on paper there's a lot of blue ink on here, which means went down Republic, I would put in the loser category because the things that they want to use are more expensive. The pilots went down, but they're like, hey, CLT, Delta 7, and the cannons are gone. Like, that's all changed. So it's still going to be really hard to build Republic lists and win things a lot with them. I'm happy that things went down for them, and a lot of things went down, but was it the points being the problem?
Republic has 52 ships. All but 14 of them went down, and they're still terrible.
Deslin's Republic is fine, and Deslin's great at flying Republic, but man, I just, of the 7 factions in the game, I see Republic the least these days.
It's sad. I had a good friend of mine. He texted me when the point changed, and he was like, "This is horrible. They're so bad now." And I was like, "What's wrong?" And he basically listed everything that we were talking about, and was like, "There's so much blue on the sheet, but like, there's nothing. You got to pick and choose." And you know, they basically turned it into an AC faction. I see in the chat here, V-wings are still pretty nasty bad. Like, they're fun, but yeah, they don't really punch hard. They're like zits. You pop them when you play against them, right? Like.
Blackberry Jam Studios, I wouldn't be surprised if X-Wing eventually adopts a roll for initiative every turn, and they talked about that. He says like World of Tanks, a lot of other games do that too. But the thing is, they talked about how they considered that, but they said that because of the ability queue, it would be too confusing. That's not me. That's what they said. So I don't think that they're looking to do that anytime soon. So far, the shakeup of removing bidding was fine. Is good enough. Let's see how it goes.
I think the other undersold winner is First Order. Just by getting bombers, it completely opens up that faction into different play styles. And they got a lot of key drops. Midnight, a 7-point drop. Malaris, a 5-point drop. Quick Draw, Phasma, Backdraft, all drop. Blackout Recoil dropped. Like, a lot of key First Order pieces that weren't played before are viable now, and the new ships are extremely effective in changing how that faction plays.
And I think it was just Dormits and Silencer Kylo that were like the two biggest
most played
spikes. And Silencer Kylo is like 79 now, or I think, is that correct?
Yeah, he went up
77.
76 to 77. Dormits went up 7 points, I believe, or 6 or 7 points.
Dormits went up 3 to 73. Still the most expensive.
Not even close.
I don't even know what he does. I've never seen him.
Yeah,
I think the reason why it's the Pyre Dormits like Kylo combo where you can double stress somebody, and then Dormits allows you to be closer to your enemy, and then you can get in to range 2, like the first engagement, pick off a ship that's double stressed. When I watched ESP, they talked about that maybe being the reason. I think that's why.
That's probably a good call.
That's nuts, yeah.
Doesn't sound very fair. I know that X-Wing isn't always fair, but let's at least start on an even playing field when we set up our forces and then get into an engagement we both have some control over. A minute. Hey, OG Baja, what's up?
Do you think they did that well, though? With the point changes, stopping some of these more oppressive builds, like the Advanced Sensors Guri,
Was that impressive though? When's the last time you saw Advanced Sensors Guri even in like a cut?
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right, Greg. I'm just trying to think outside the box, right, as we talk, because a lot of stuff that was somewhat decent or like unfun to play against for a newer player is now gone.
I see what you're saying. It does feel like they're trying to get ahead of what could be a problem.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I think they failed to do that a few times now, and they like triple upsilon should have never been allowed, or like that was a thing that existed for a while. It had upgrades, it had all the things it needed, and then they reacted. They were late to it, but they still got to it, which at the end of the day we all appreciate. All right, last question, guys. What are you most excited about? I could probably guess what Greg would say, but I'm not going to put words in his mouth. Go ahead.
Oh, I want to hear what you.
I think you're the most excited about First Order, about the bombers and about the Whisper. I think that's probably one of the most exciting things that is on your plate right now. But I could be completely wrong. It's kind of an inkling that I get.
I do have a First Order list that I am very excited about. It's currently 3-0, and I like it a lot. I am very excited about the First Order bombers. I just think they're cool. I think they look cool. First of all, like the first most important thing is they look awesome.
They're huge in person. Have you seen those models? Oh my god.
I haven't taken it out of the box yet, but I have my like order.
Nice. The First Order.
Yeah, First Order. What am I most excited about? I think it's probably Resistance, maybe. like the changes to resistance have made me interested in getting in resistance again. But if I'm being truthful, once Fen Rao comes out in a Fang for the Rebel Alliance, I'm probably gonna be flying Rebel 6s a ton.
Yeah, I was
Jan
gonna
Ors
say-
with Fen Rao, dude. That's a thing.
Like
That's
like Fen with like Wedge and Hera. Like, all right, GG's. Have
Oh.
fun, suckers.
Oh yeah, that sounds oppressive. Sounds oppressive.
Oh, super good. Drew,
So you want me to go? You want me to go into it, dude?
go for it.
Yeah, I know. I love how you like put all this stuff in Greg's mouth, and then he slowly pulled it out and was like, "No, actually, it's different." But mine is literally that. I love Resistance. I've always wanted them to be good, and they were always flying differently from the way I wanted to fly them. And I feel like with the point changes, I can sort of fall back into kind of my style, which is sort of like a salad of what I want to play as far as Resistance goes. But then I started looking at First Order, and there was a few First Order lists before the new stuff came out that I was excited about. And after looking at all the point changes, I'm like, oh, dude, we got bombers, we got this new TIE Whisper thing. Like, I love the Whisper pilot from Imperial. I know they're extremely different ships, but both of them can be cloaked, which is kind of weird, at least with an upgrade.
Yeah, it's a cheap upgrade too.
Super cheap. 1 point, it's so weird. But anyways, I'm most excited about Resistance and First Order, and I can't wait to get them on the table.
OG saying corn with pattern analyzer is my favorite thing so far. That's cool. Pattern analyzer is so good, man. I've always wished, like, playing Rebels, Empire Scum, when I play against people like First Order Resistance players, and they would use pattern analyzer. I'm like, God, it's so cheap, it's so good. I wish I had it, and now I can use it. And it's like, oh, it feels unfair, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for keeping the sensor slot, just in case I wanted to use a sensor, and giving me tech. I am most excited about...
Just say it. We know what you're going to say. Just say it.
Oh, the E-Wings are very exciting. I would probably say the E-Wings. It's obvious. And I think it's just because their time... So, in this game is so fascinating to me. It's the strategy component of it is what draws me to it, and drew me to it so fast and so hard, and still does. And time on target is so big in the game of X-Wing, and getting re-engaged and aligning your engagements and having access to a ship with a dial that can be opened up if you put R4 or R3 gives multiple locks no matter where you are, and then constantly turning around and shooting. Every turn you're aligning yourself the opportunity to shoot. And before the E-Wings couldn't... Yeah, and the E-Wings couldn't do that. They couldn't re-engage. They had to jet out and spend 3 or 4 turns turning back around, and then it was too late. Or they got shot from behind. Now they can cover themselves and shoot back. And so I am really, really hyped about it. It's weird when one of your favorite ships that's just never been super popular all of a sudden is given this grace. Like, hey, here's some toys. Have fun. I didn't think I'd see that day, but I never really asked for it. I was just like, it is what it is. They are what they are. But now they're very strong. And Luke went down a point, so you can, with Pattern Analyzer being 5 and Sensors being 13, you can save so many points. You can get Regen Torpedo Luke in a list with 2 of those guys souped up. And that's what I've been playing. It's been really good. So yeah. What do you guys think? What?
So I think the thing we're all looking forward to, and I have no fear speaking for you, Andrew, here, is that we're not going to be facing a bunch of Zams anymore.
Yes.
Also true.
Thank God.
Absolutely.
Shoot ships and not worry about it.
And Thread Tracers going up to 4 doesn't feel like a big jump, but I'm really happy about that too. I'm happy that Thread Tracers is 4 points. Like, it's just nice to see that 2-point upgrades are, Predator is a 2-point upgrade to me. But like a False Transponder or Thread Tracers, the value there is a little higher than 2 points, and it's good that they recognize that. Let's get people back to list building and challenging people to list build. The whole idea of it's just like, Zam Wessel's staple. It's like, no. Let's get beyond that. Let's get back to list building the way that it used to be. Back in my day, the old days, of X-Wing 2.0. I'm super excited about that. So
We used to put Zams on ship, and that's how we liked it.
yeah. And you could give Zam, was it 3 factions or 4? She was a Swiss Army knife for like a few factions. Separatists were just stealing everyone else's stuff. It was like, no, they've always been a swarmy faction to me. Like, now that they have double fire sprays, what are we talking about here? Like, what? What is happening?
I mean, the double fire sprays are still a thing. Like,
they are,
that hasn't
but
been taken out.
she's
But
84 points now.
There's a few less toys, but not all
Yeah.
that many, because
Like
now that you don't
Dooku.
need bids. Because I
Right.
mean, before you would take 10 points to win bids. So now that it's like 10 points more expensive, it's just kind of ate into the bid a little bit.
Well, yeah, they were almost the same cost as Fenrau and Boba, right, for Scum. So there was like there was anywhere from a 21 to 15 point bid, and with everything going up, you now have basically no bid, but then the bid is gone anyways, so you can still kind of run it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Colfax mentioning also excited about the massive opportunities for more list building. Absolutely. List building is such an awesome part of this game, and it just stinks when it feels like 60% of it is dice, and then it's like 30% of it is bidding, and then it's like 10% of it is list building. It fluctuates, but this feels like more balanced. And the 200 point thing, I think most of the time the double fire sprays weren't caring about a bid, but like maybe a couple points. But yeah, it makes it easier for everyone. And Sam is where she needs to be, and yes, I am very excited about not having to deal with the double shots, the free locks and double shots, and then Sam fire spray can double shot or bonus attack twice, 2 times in a row, 2 engagements in a row, which was also like what?
Yeah, which was like what? Yeah, exactly.
No, thank you. All right, let's talk about the Mandalorian. I feel like the show has been around for so long now. It has been a couple of years since we've had these. The first season came out, and then we finished the second season, and they're working. I think they just started production on the third one, but hold on, I have to play the animation I spent too long on. There it is. So it's the time for the Mandalorian show review. Let's talk about, I think, what most people consider to be their favorite Star Wars show. So let's get right into it, and move over to the Mandalorian. All right.
Hey Nick,
Yeah.
I think there's a problem with your stream.
What's up?
There's like a cake slowly being revealed on
Oh,
the main
sure.
page.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that, dude. You might have to help me get rid of that.
Weird.
Let's swap out the poll here. That's a big, there's so many options. It just takes up so much space. All right, guys. The Mandalorian. Drew, rants. Talk about it. What do you like? What do you not like? Season 1 or 2? Which is better? We'll start a new poll for the chat here.
Absolutely. So the biggest thing that I like about it is, and I was just talking about this with a friend of mine actually, about Star Wars Visions, which maybe we'll hit upon a little bit as we talk about what is our best media for Disney and Star Wars. But anyways, dude, the Western, put the Western back in Star Wars, like big time. I am such a big fan of all the old style Westerns. Like I went to school for filmmaking, and so seeing this show, every scene, every shot, I was like, and it just the way that it looked, the production, and the literally revolutionary filmmaking techniques that went into building this show and making it a possibility. I think hands down, it will not only revolutionize the industry, but it has reawakened that sort of like love for Star Wars that a lot of people felt like the newer films 7, 8, 9 dropped.
Yeah, man, there's so the first one is very formulaic, and that's not necessarily anything wrong with that. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but it used a lot of tropes and a lot of kind of like it riffed off of a lot of different types of like westerns or like almost like samurais and but it was do a thing side, it's like go somewhere, side quest, go somewhere, side quest, go somewhere, side quest, side quest, side quest, and then it was like, and then there was all this tension, and then the last few episodes, but in the middle there was a lot of going places, side quests, meeting new characters, which is a lot of shows do that, or you go different places and meet new characters. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I wasn't surprised. At a certain point, I was like, oh, this is the same thing as the last 3 or 4 episodes. But the end of season 1, spoiler alert, by the way, guys. If you haven't, I assume that once you saw we were going to talk about the Mandalorian and you hadn't seen it, you would have hopped out or like for some muted us, even though you can see spoilers on screen right now. But Taika Waititi doing having the last couple episodes. Or the last one in particular, was really, really strong ending. It really pushed us into a really exciting and like, big hype mood for the second one, and the second season was incredible. It was super good. There was very little that I thought was filler, that was like unnecessary or boring or formulaic. Yeah, that's what I have to say to start us off. Greg, what do you think about The Mandalorian?
Well, I think it's, first off, a really great show. It's pretty awesome. I agree that season 1 is a little bit formulaic. Like, oh, we're on this planet, weird side quests on this planet. It's fine. I mean, it was entertaining for the most part. I have no complaints. Season 2, though, is where it kicks it up for me. I have no problem. Maybe this is a bit of a hot take, but I like fan service, as I'm a fan and they're servicing me. Like,
Yes! Yeah!
Absolutely.
like, I like
Service me,
Ahsoka.
please.
I like that Grand Admiral Thrawn is mentioned. I like Boba Fett. Like, I like these things.
Yeah, you can see them on screen
to
there.
see them. And like, I agree with people's takes that we don't need Jedi and everything. But I mean, honestly, we got one episode of Ahsoka and like 10 minutes of Luke out of the whole season. Like,
Well, that was the
that's
thing too.
extremely palatable to me.
Yeah, that was the whole thing too. The whole point of finding Grogu a place to live was looking for a Jedi. So like, you really
Yeah.
didn't think that we were not gonna see a Jedi? Like, that was the whole story was leading up to it. You knew it was
Right.
gonna be one of them, right? Like,
So, 2 questions to pose to you guys, and actually to the chat as well. I broke down as well. I cried, by the way.
that was me. Yeah,
I did cry as well. One question. Okay, the name Grogu. So, like, I think we all agree that the name Baby Yoda was really annoying. I thought it was super annoying. I kind of hated it after a while. I was like, okay.
I love it.
So, Grogu, were you disappointed that, 1, they named the child, or 2, are you disappointed with the name? That's the first question to both of you
Greg,
guys.
you first, man. You first.
I'm not like I don't like, it's a alien name. Like, if I was mad at Grogu, like, how many fucking names in Star Wars would I have to be like, well, that's pretty stupid. Finnick. Like, I have no issues with it with Grogu, but I also don't have any issues with it being called Baby Yoda, because Baby Yoda was just a fan thing. Like, it was never officially called Baby Yoda by like Lucasfilm. It's never called Baby Yoda
Colfax.
in the.
My name is Colfax. Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, Colfax. Colfax.
True.
What is that?
I love that
Why are
name, dude. You have a
naming
great
things after
name.
People who
It's
draw?
awesome. I
It's
like
so
it.
great. Colfax. Yeah, that's a great name.
It's a very like white, upper middle class 1800s English name. Colfax, darling, come here.
Colfax.
Why?
Whenever I
Yes,
think of Gorgo candy bars. What about you, Drew? Maybe disappoint's not the right word, but like, were you not expecting them to do it the way they did? Did you not really like? Was the name?
So growing up in the Bay Area, and I don't, not that I don't know these people, but I know people who know these people who made the show, and
You know Nick Baum?
yeah, absolutely. But anyways,
What was
What
that?
was that?
Oh.
Absolutely.
should I say ho 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 ho? Moving on. But I know that they shuffled people offset for calling the child Baby Yoda, because Jon Favreau hates it.
Yeah.
He's really
See, I'm
upset
not the only
about it. He
one.
doesn't like it. Yeah, me too. And I feel like that's the thing too. In season 2, I'll bet you the top thing on their list, and I'll bet you they already had it, but the thing that they really wanted to emphasize was that we need to give him a name, or it a name, because we don't want people to call it Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And of course, people still call it Baby Yoda, right? Like all the non-Star Wars fans who were kind of Star Wars fans who watch it, they're like, oh, it's Baby Yoda. It's like, no, that's Grogu, right?
I always liked the
There's no-
child. I thought that was
That's the
also the
child.
mystery behind it. I
Yep.
like that. It felt very fitting.
Absolutely.
And to never
Isn't
have a
that-
name would have been fine with me also, but it was annoying to me. So.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
isn't that too a trope from the westerns, the old western movies as well, like the gunslinger
Yes.
and like the child or the slave or
Yeah.
whatever that they like try to save or have to follow them and all that, like, yeah. So I think it's fine.
My second question. This is one of my friend Adrian. Shout out to Adrian. I don't think he's watching because he usually isn't on Twitch. But he said, "Hey, I was expecting." He said he was a little disappointed that it was Luke. Okay, and like before you, I disagree with that. I love that it was Luke. He said, "I think it should have been Ezra Bridger," and I said that would have been so much less powerful for a unifying character that everyone knows and loves. If it was Ezra Bridger, people would have been. A lot of people haven't seen Rebels, so I don't think it should have been Ezra. Can you make a case that it could have been him, or is that just no way? It had to have been Luke, nobody else, no chance.
I can make a case that it goes with Ahsoka. What you could have done is at this time, Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn because she's looking for Ezra. That's the end of Rebels. Spoiler alert, everyone. Her and Sabine go looking for Ezra after he disappears with Thrawn into, the unknown regions. So if it's Ezra there, you also have to bring back Ahsoka, because there's no way Ezra's in like the known galaxy. Like they're not anywhere like super secret or anything,
Right.
If Ezra's there, then you have to kind of tie it in with Ahsoka. But I mean, like, it could have been done and it would have been fine, because Ahsoka wasn't very specific on what Jedi are out there, and we don't know the timeline of Luke training new Jedi yet.
Right.
Like, we don't know when he stopped searching for things and started like training the new class of Jedi.
Yeah, and to say it didn't make sense, it did make sense. Luke absolutely could have been there. It wasn't like the question of that. It made sense to me. I think it made sense.
Did anyone else
around the galaxy? Yeah, it
hold on,
makes perfect sense to Luke.
Real quick, did anyone else at the end of Mando season 2, they were crying and they're like, "Oh my god, this was so great," and then literally turned to their significant other or whoever they were watching it with and was like, "Oh my god, Grogu died," right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Ben Solo kills Grogu.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, or Grogu just like pulls a Luke from The Last Jedi. It's like, I'm gonna abandon my friends and not
That was
be
a
a part of
deleted
this.
scene in The Last Jedi. It was just Baby Yoda and Octo hanging out with the caretakers.
We'll a couple more things on Mandalorian, and we'll shift gears. But
Sure.
real quick, we have it up on screen right now. That hallway scene, the music, the sound design, the editing, and the emotion and the tension. I have never felt anything like that watching any sort of show anywhere ever, and in most movies and in Star Wars, but especially for TV.
Yep.
Unbelievable. The Dark Trooper, like the close-ups, and those were they used practical effects for the Dark Troopers. Like, it wasn't all CG, which is crazy, and also kudos. Like, they did practical for Grogu, and there's a lot of practical effects used in The Mandalorian, and it shows. It really, really shows.
I mean, it was
so
set up perfectly too with Din Djarin's battle with the thing, and we saw him barely beat one.
Yeah.
And then
he's like pounding his helmet.
So
pounding his helmet.
So Terminator-esque. Those last 2 episodes are some of my favorites. So I will literally just throw them on in the background, and like I get chills every time I watch it. Like, excuse me. I think with people are upset with that it's Luke. Who else would it have been?
There's a very small minority that have a problem with it.
No, but
yeah.
The term Jedi. There is only one Jedi. At that in that time frame, right? Obviously they could add more, but like
Ahsoka Jedi.
Yeah, Ahsoka isn't really a Jedi. I was like, it's got to be Luke. And as soon as I saw the X-Wing, I watched them at like 5 a.m. before work because I didn't want to get spoiled on anything. As soon as that X-Wing showed up, oh dude, I started weeping like a kid. I was like, oh my god, and just
Deslin brings up a point. He says, I still like the Vader hallway scene more. Honestly, I felt more things with the Luke hallway scene than the Vader hallway scene, and I love Rogue One. I think I have to pick.
The Luke hallway scene is directly inspired by the Vader hallway.
Well, yes,
scene.
yes.
They're the two sides of the coin, which is just like another example of how good Favreau and the directors he's hired to do this are like treating this, and how good they're doing. That they're able to take how awesome that Vader Rogue One hallway scene is and turn it into the Luke light side version, That is such good writing and good cinematography.
Look at the choreography too, from whoever was this stand-in, or for the person that that played Luke here with the hand-to-hand combat with the saber too. Like, it was really good. I mean, it could have been, because we've had some really great lightsaber combat in like Revenge of the Sith where it's almost too good, and then we've had clunky stuff in the older stuff like A New Hope, and then we've had the sequel trilogy just is underwhelming. Like it's just not particularly great. But they did such a great job in making it feel like I was there with Luke and he had to like take each one down individually. I mean, he was getting just lit up. I mean, it was completely like the entire hallway was getting lit up. It was awesome. I mean, I just giggle and get chills when I even think about that scene, and I need to rewatch it. It's been a little while.
It was, again, this is 100% fan service, right? Like Dark Troopers are playing off all of us who played Dark Forces.
Yep,
Absolutely. All that, like all of this is fan service while keeping newer fans in the loop. It's just so well done.
Thank you, Filoni and Favreau, Deborah Chow, everybody. There's so many names. But the fact that they actually are willing to look back in the rear view now, they're willing to like use stuff that has existed before, and they're willing to keep things like moderately new while also borrowing from old, things that have already been done before. Because like we don't just want everything to be brand new. If it's not good, it's not good. Like let's work with what we have that has been good, that people love, and they know it. And it's just like it's great. It's great to know that they have taken care of us. I feel taken care of with The Mandalorian as a Star Wars fan.
There's not a ton of space scenes in this show, but the Lambda Slave One shots are incredible.
It's very cool.
So cool.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't even get to see a lot of it inside the Lambda outside of Return of the Jedi, like, in the cargo hold part, but it's super
absolutely
cool. Yeah.
But no, so real quick, you said it, is it Ezra? People thought it was Ezra. I wanted to touch down upon this. So I got a bunch of postal friends, we get on a chat when we deliver every day. And so when Mando Season 2 came out, I had people after the Ahsoka episode, they were like, who the fuck is Thrawn? Like, who is this guy? Because they're not like Star Wars fans. And so I feel like you're absolutely right, Nick. Like, if it was Ezra, people would have been like, who? Like, oh, this is the lead into Season 3, right? I was like, no.
Go play Fortnite. You'll know about him there. Yeah.
God damn it. Exactly.
I think they're actually embarrassing the people that like this. They make the sequels look so messy and so sloppy. And this is just good. It's clean. It's smooth. It's exciting. It's always fun. The characters are interesting. There's just so much that they just know how to do. It's like, how did you guys not be able to? Different time, but it's just they did a great job almost making up for some of the things that have disappointed us, and they've done even more. It's time, Drew, for your favorite segment. It's time for Drew Likes Dinosaurs. So, who are we talking about? What dinosaur are we talking about for this segment?
We are talking about one of the most interesting dinosaurs, I think, of all time. We are talking about the technical name for it is Spinosaurus aegypticus. A lot of people might know it from the Jurassic Park 3. The main finned dinosaur, the one with the sail on its back, that one was the main antagonist for that movie. Although I gotta be honest with you, god damn it, that it did not. It's not. Yeah. So there's the other interesting thing. The video that you have here, I think, is actually
BBC
incorrect.
Earth.
Yeah, BBC Earth. It's actually incorrect to
nice.
How it actually walked and looked.
It does look weird. It looks a little off.
Anyways, moving on. So it was discovered by a gentleman in 1912, and then described by German paleontologist Ernst Stromer in 2015. 1915. The original remains were destroyed in World War II by the Germans. I believe they bombed. I think it was
Nazis.
Yeah, the fucking Nazis destroyed it. And at the time, it was the only skeleton of Spinosaurus aegypticus that we had. We had other pieces of fossil, but we didn't actually have a somewhat complete look at how this dinosaur actually looked like. So, moving on from that, the National Geographic post that I just posted in the chat actually has a photo of 3 different skeletal versions of the Spinosaurus that we thought it looked like. So the first one, for anyone who can't click on the link, it's like standing upright, like Godzilla, has the fin, and it has a skull that's very similar to like a T-Rex. It's very short. Well, Spinosaurus actually had a very long snout, almost like a crocodile. And the sail on its back was almost like a humpback camel. It's not like a sun, like the rising sun, or like
Mhm.
half a circle. It's actually more like a heart almost. But the tail was the big thing.
Such a huge creature. You guys see this in front of us right now. The scale to a human
Absolutely.
being.
And I think it averages, what is it? They average 49 to 52 feet long, which is even longer than the T-Rex, which is very interesting. So the reason why I chose this dinosaur is obviously in Jurassic Park it looked really cool. The skin patterns, everything was great. But a few years ago they rediscovered another fossil of Spinosaurus, and the tail was fully intact or mostly intact. It was entirely different than any sort of dinosaur that we have ever seen before. Originally, they thought the tail was sort of like how it looks in the Jurassic Park films, just like a normal sort of prolonged tail. Spinosaurus actually had a fin. Its entire tail was a fin, like a fish almost.
We have a reference in this this reference video of that scale I was mentioning earlier that has that kind of long, very elongated fin-like tail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that you guys will see in a moment.
And so the really cool thing here is they think it was semi-aquatic. Now that they have this tail fully reconstructed with the rest of the skeleton, and we also know that it was more crocodilian. It didn't exactly walk on its hind legs like a Tyrannosaurus Rex or Velociraptor would. It actually walked on all fours, and it was a lot shorter to the ground, but very, very large. So
I would not want to be in the waters with this thing, and it's amphibious creatures like it can handle itself just fine on land, and then it's like, all right, now I'm gonna go swim with the fishies and do what I need to do, be a predator. Man, absolutely. Dinosaurs, they're as fascinating as they are terrifying to me. Like most of the, like this one is a terrifying dinosaur. I mean, yeah, just putting together the reference for it.
Honestly, I learned something. Like before I was on the fence, but now that I know the Nazis destroyed this dinosaur, I think they might be the bad guys.
I think so too.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about this before the show, right? The Spinosaurus was siding with the Nazis, and now all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no longer sympathizing with them. I mean, those teeth too, like how they hang over. Yeah, just fascinating. Thanks, Drew. I really appreciate it. It's that's your info on the Spinosaurus. So we've done the Notosaurus and the Spinosaurus. Hey, if you guys want any input on what we talk about in our next show in episode 3, there is a section of our Discord that is for any suggestions and feedback. Let us know in the chat here as well. What dinosaur would you like to see next, and we'll do it. It's gonna happen. So yeah. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's go back to our topic screen, and we have just a couple more things until we wrap up tonight. We're doing the memes of the day. I had meme of the day before, but we did multiple memes, so it really is memes of the day. So let's move on to the meme of the day. So
the memes.
So let's back it up. There we go. All right. So first one. Well, Facebook went down yesterday. This is too fitting. I had to do it. This is the first one. The cause of the Facebook servers going down, thanks, Greg. I appreciate it, dude. I actually had a little bit of bliss and peace, thanks to Grogu. Apparently, like, there was some serious damage done. They had to, like, physically turn the servers back on.
Yeah, they're
yeah.
Part of me is like, bunch of whistleblowers just came out about Facebook. What are they doing?
Yeah. I mean, shut it down.
It was Dennis Nedry. He shut everything off. Took the dinosaur embryos and left, and they had to go into the Velociraptor-infested bowels of Facebook and turn on the power.
I love this one. This one I found this week. My email was well written, reviewed, and ready to be sent. My email was sent, and then the attached file. Everyone on this, not on the plane. The amount of times, I'm gonna tell you the amount of times I have done that. I'll be like, I'll even say "see attached," and they'll be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, God damn it, I forgot to say with the attachments again.
So unprofessional, Nick.
It's very unprofessional. Here you go. Is 2 a lot? Depends on the context. Dollars? No. Sith? This is getting on demand. That's so stupid. It's so dumb. Greg likes that one. It's so bad. Oh, I love it. These are bangers, as Greg would say. These are bangers.
So hinting upon this 2, right? Like the rule of 2. I was really hoping for episode 9 that the rule of 2 was like 1 Jedi, 1 Sith, not 2 Sith. And I thought that would have been a really interesting concept for balance. I know that it maybe doesn't make sense, but I was like, oh, that's an interesting twist on Lucas's old thing that like really didn't make sense in the first place, right? Like, you know. I don't know.
This is one of the most relatable memes. My family's, it's March reporting on her parents at 6:30. Run! Always had to be there and leave 3 or 4 hours before your flight, because that's, even though you were only an hour away, that's just how it worked.
It's true even for X-Wing players, man, especially when we get stopped by TSA and they're like, what the hell is this tiny little X-Wing doing in your bag? And it's
like,
Actus,
they're very rare.
Yep.
Careful, I'm bringing proton torpedoes.
Oh, don't talk about those kind of munitions at the airport. All right, these last 2 are from Jen, my girlfriend. I asked her for some input. This is an older one, but it's still a Goldie. Oldie, but a Goldie. It's time to go. Was I a good meme? Yes. Now let's go. I can. I'm stuck. Thanks, Evergreen Boat. You did such a great job for the world. You were the center of attention for me.
Stuck twice, right?
Was it stuck twice?
Yeah.
No. What?
No, I think it was. It wasn't as bad as the first, and it was only for like maybe a few hours. But the meme I thought you were gonna show Nick because we're delayed looking at this. I thought it was I'm stuck again. And it was like again. Like...
It was, what was it? Someone was like, it's free. Now there's only one thing it could do, and we all know it has to happen. Just get stuck again. All right, lastly, our last one. Society, kids nowadays just do drugs and have sex. Your grandmother drunk on Prohibition whiskey, popping out 9 kids in a decade. I don't know.
It's a little.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a lot of. I mean, a lot of boomer stuff is like that, right? Like, oh yeah, back in the day, we could go to college and afford a house, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, god damn it! Like.
No. All right, everybody. You guys know what time it is? Hold on, I gotta play it. I know I have Greg here.
You know what time it is?
I'm waiting for the thing to pop up before I say it.
Nick gonna give us some free shit.
All right, now a live rendition for us, Greg. You want to do it for us? Of a giveaway time? Do it live.
Oh. Y'all know what time it is? It's that giveaway time. Nick gonna give us some free shit.
Yeah! All right, guys, real quick, before we do giveaways, there's a reason why there's a picture of me there. We have merch, we have new stuff. Check out the E-Wing Chicago flag there. We have a bunch of other new Chicago flag, X-Wing specific shirts on our merch store. And photos you guys see here are from our Discord community. We had a challenge. If you guys post a picture of you repping our swag, whether it's a shirt or something X-Wing related on the table, you have a chance to win more swag. So we got Deslin, Catherine, Weston. Just play through the slideshow here, just giving us shout outs to the people that participated in the challenge. Joe Churchman, love that beard, man, never shave. Got Bosk in the background. Ladrion, also featuring the Bosk and the 1-speed template, the marker. There's the mirrored template that Andrew won from being in top cut for our league. And Mike Saucedo with the template as well. And runs, I think played Sebastian recently. And then Max, see Matik with our Vader Defender, rocking Vader Defender. So I think he's too expensive. He needs to be even cheaper, right, guys?
I mean, sure. Man, that asteroid is hella close to the tail. Okay.
All right. All right, you guys. So I'm going to announce the winner of that challenge real quick, and then we'll roll into our general giveaways. I have the names here. I don't know if... I think most of them are in bed or they're overseas, but I will let them know that they won. And the winner is...
On me!
Deslin. All right, man. So Deslin's actually here.
Fuck!
We were supposed to get a mirror template, or was that an older league? You should have gotten one. I can send you one. You were in the top cut, so you were the champ.
I was just about to say, Nick, I was like, oh yeah, Deslin won because he was just complaining about not getting the thing last time.
Right. No, I'll send you that. You should have gotten one. So, Deslin, so here's the deal. So what you can do is take a look at our updated store, ! Merch. We have those cool Chicago flag shirts featuring different ships, like Star Wars ships, if you want a customized one, and the same goes for anybody here. I've done a couple custom orders for those already. If any of you guys want a custom one, reach out and I will make that happen for you. Deslin, let me know what you want on there, or if you want me to make a custom shirt. Yeah, congratulations, man. Thanks for repping our swag and being a part of our community. We appreciate you. And now it's time to roll into the general giveaways here. Let's get everyone back here on camera so we can do this the right way. I got Nightbot open, and I have a bunch of stuff here. We'll start again with our stickers. So I got 3 more of our 312 stickers here. So we'll start with those. We're just going to do by active user in the chat. So if you guys haven't typed in a while, be sure to type something now. So I'll give you guys a second for that.
Exclamation point cuck in chat.
Yep.
Cuck to enter.
There you go.
Yep. Oh no, not oh joy. Exclamation
Something
point
like,
cuck.
type something like wow. All right, I'm gonna count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, Tarhoran wins a 312 sticker.
Ooh.
Exclamation point win in the chat. You can get my email. Send me an email with what you want and your address, and I got you, fam. Blackberry Jam Studios.
Email, just say it's a sweater.
Yeah, I've gotten emails like that. It's been a lot of fun.
An X-wing sweater.
Mask TMT is the winner of the 3rd sticker. So Tarhoran, Blackberry Jam Studios, and Mask TMT win our stickers. And now, guys, I got a bunch of cards. So I think there's a chance that most people watching come home with something here. So let's start off with our Soontir Fell. Weston won the Soontir last time.
Ooh.
So because some people may have won one of these before, we are going to do a keyword for these. So the keyword is going to be ace. Okay? So that's the keyword for the Soontir Fell.
Oh, you giving away a Grievous card?
Oh, he is pretty acey too, though, man, isn't he? At an I4, he feels like an I5. Ass, yes, type ass. Ass.
I will always try to like not type the name, but type the name. I love it.
The winner of the Soontir card is
range 3 obstructed and dies.
Drew. Do you want the Soontir card? Because you can win it.
No, I typed an ass, not ace. Give it someone else.
All right, Psionic Rain, who just followed us today. Thanks for that follow.
Amazing.
All right, next is our Wedge Antilles on Scarif. I know it's a little dark here, but that's fine. You guys can kind of see it. A lot of focus there a little bit. Pretty sweet. I mean, promised it's a lot brighter in person than it is in this dark part of where my camera is.
To be fair, with the Death Star laser coming down, it was pretty dark on Scarif, yeah.
To be fair. All right, for this one, let's type wedge. If you guys know how to spell, this is a challenge. Wedge. Just type wedge. Wurge. Intentionally spelling it wrong, and Nightbot still letting you,
winning.
Still
That's
counting
how you win, you guys. You type it in incorrectly.
There you go. And now the chat lights up. They're like, "Fuck this guy! I don't want to say anything until the giveaways." Fair enough. I see how it is, but I also don't necessarily disagree with that line of thinking. All right, the winner of Wedge on Scarif is Nickel City X-Wing. Greg, you want it?
You can give it away.
All right, we'll re-roll
What a
it.
beast.
And of course, Drew wins it next.
Oh my god!
The X-Wing Debrief. The X-Wing Debrief wins the X-Wing Wedge card. Well done, X-Wing Debrief. It only took 3 rolls to get it to you. But...
So rigged. Oh my
all right.
gosh.
Let's see. I have a dope Lando Calrissian, which, Greg, I think if you got your mail, you should have gotten this card already. Did you get it? I sent you this as a bonus with your jam token.
Yes, I did. I did get that one.
I knew you liked the card. I knew you liked the card.
I told you it looks good. That card looks awesome.
So, Lando. Lando is the keyword. If you want a chance to win a Lando, you have to type Lando. Lando. Lando Senpai.
Oh, it's like that guy, Andor. Oh, wait.
I'm excited about that show, too. I think people are writing that I could be... I don't know, maybe.
I can't wait.
All right, I'm going to roll it, guys. Here we go. The winner of the Lando is... David Zumo. DJ.
Don't join.
Don't join. I can't believe that's what that's short for, dude. Did he see what my guess was? I put Don Julio in the chat. All right. Wrap it up with 3 of our Paularoo exclusive from our league. Bosk pilot cards. Bosk is still playable, folks. That means that people still want these. It's good to know.
Absolutely.
They were doing me a favor. All right. Now all you got to type is Bosk. There's 2 S's in Bosk. B-O-S-S-K. Bosk. Seabosk. Boosk. There you go. All right, I'll give you guys a moment. Let's see. All right, type Bosk. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sorry, I need to make sure that Nightbot is not updating the eligible users, which mark eligible. I'll mark everyone is eligible, I guess. We'll just see how it goes. Here we go.
It is.
3, 2, 1. The winner of the first Bosk. Colfax wins a Bosk. Colfax, I know you got a play group there, and I think you might have one, so just go ahead and give it to someone that you know that likes Bosk.
Absolutely.
Nobby AU. Nobby loves Bosk. He doesn't play A-Wings anymore. He switched over to the YV. That's all he plays. And the X-Wing debrief.
That card in
2 for
7 to 12
2
months.
tonight. 7 to 12 months, right? All right, that's what I have for you guys tonight. That is the end of the second episode. Greg, thanks so much, man, for giving me your time. And Drew, you as well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A couple of things. If you guys want to be a part of the show, if you want to give us feedback, ideas, please consider joining our Discord. We also stream X-Wing as well. And if you guys don't care, then honestly, this isn't worth doing. So if as long as people are around and want, and we can make this for you guys, this is the whole point. So consider supporting us if you can. But honestly, as Greg has said many times before, the biggest piece of support that you can give us is just being around and talking to us. That way we don't go crazy. So thanks to everyone that watched tonight. Greg, Drew, appreciate you guys. We'll be back on Saturday. No Friday stream. Saturday with List Chaos, the regularly scheduled time. And then,
Nick's mom.
yes,
Nick's
my mom will make an appearance.
Yep.
And then in 2 weeks, we'll be back with the 3rd episode of the 312 Show, a bi-weekly show. All right, you all. It's been a blast. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will catch you all on the flippity flip.